we're going to be taking this from this to this by replacing these with that and that little pump with that big thing. And we have zero room for error. You see, tomorrow we go completely off grid for the next month, and this is what's going to sort it. Any leaks and we can't go, but there is no can't. We cannot not go. We have to. The new water tank's going under the bed, so we've got to empty it all. And if we get a bit more time, I've got another mount to fix the forks of the bike down a lot easier. The plan is to have the water tank just there. It's a 70-litre Fiamma water tank. It's got the fill just in one side. It's got the air vent just in the other side. It's got all the fittings to be able to secure it down. And a big opening just there, but I'm going to be adding a proper fill from the outside. Well, that's if the rain stays off. I'm currently underneath my bed because I've got to take the diesel tank off, I've got to take these panels off, and I've got to try and figure out where I can fit the fill and how I can secure the tank down. Oh, inside the tank somewhere is this. This is all the fittings and the fixings you're going to need for it. We've managed to leave the diesel tank on and just get this panel off. We need this panel off for the fill cap, so we sort of need to basically strip away some of the insulation over here because it's going to be coming from the outside into the tank, which will be down here. This is the fill cap that we're using. Good old Fiamma. It's an 80mm hole that we need, and I don't have an 80mm drill bit. I've got a 64mm drill bit, but not an 80mm, so I'm going to have to drill a hole and then mark it out and go around with the saw. Check and double check where it's going. It's going just about there. Nice flat surface for it. We've got a little ridge that comes down, flattens off there, and then it's all flat until there. So we're going to get the ring and go around about there, drill a pilot hole in the middle, and then go around with the saw. There's the hole, and like I said, nice and flat. Plug the jigsaw into the power bank, mask it off so I don't damage the paint, deburr it. Now I haven't got a proper deburring tool, so I just run around the edge with the blade of a pair of pliers, and that deburrs it. And then guess what, it starts to rain. We'll just cover that up for now and we'll come back to that because there's bare metal on there. So while it's raining, we'll get the tank ready, shall we? We've got to spin it around. We've got to drill out the fill hole, the vent hole, and the hole for the outwards outlet thing. 22mm hole saw for this one, 7mm for the actual air vent, and then on the bottom, see that little hole, another 22mm just there. After deburring the hole down the bottom, this is the fill, so that goes inside the tank and locks on securely. And onto that, we've got a lovely little elbow. Nice and snug. Stopped raining, so we've still got some bare metal on there. That's why we've got a little bit of hammeroid paint. We're just going to dab loads of it onto the exposed metalwork just to make sure it doesn't rust in the future. While that's drying, let's quickly go inside. We've stuck the 12mm pipe onto the actual elbow that was coming out the back, Jubilee clipped on. That is nice and secure. We've put it into place, got the pipe and threaded it through the hole just there. Secure that down later. The pipe comes in just there nicely, and this is the setup for the pump. We have got a filter that's going to go straight onto the side of the surflo 30 psi pump. Then it's going to go from there onto the Fiamma, I don't even know what it's called anymore, accumulator, and then onto the tap. Standard, just positive and negative. And it was always wise, our old man told me this, always make your Jubilee clips point towards you, so maintenance in the future can be so much easier. But I do have an idea to make things simpler, so I've connected it from the tank to the water filter, to the pump, to the accumulator, and this is the pipe that already connects to the tap. That runs through to a submersible pump. Why could I not just undo that Jubilee clip and stick it straight on there? Well, at least I can say me blood, sweat and tears has gone into this. I think the only concern I've got is that pipe rated for 30 psi, which is what this pump actually does. The submersible pump that I was using is nowhere near that strong, so we're going to test it and try out. So far, all this plumbing and everything else, and I've not once used one of the push fit fittings that actually came with the kit. Not sponsored, but this kit I paid £259, 70-litre tank, all the plumbing, the pipe work, loads of pipe work, both hot and cold pipe work, all the push fit fittings, the Jubilee clips, the water filter, the pump, everything except for the accumulator all come from Jackson's Leisure in Bromborough, Birkenhead. £259. I didn't think that was that bad. Back down to a la Wato Tankio and the hole up there. So we've got the fill cap. It's the fill cap and a vent cap. Both of those tubes, which are these two just here, go from the fill cap into the tank. The vent pipe is there for when you're drawing water off your tank, it will vacuum if you've got no air getting into the tank. Some people just stick a hole in the top of the tank, some people do a vent hose. I want to try and do this properly, so I'm going to go for a vent hose. Line the fill cap up with the holes, drill the holes, paint the holes so that it's not exposed metal, we don't rust, screw that into place. Obviously we're going to add a load of Sikaflex onto that as well, just to add for the water resistant side of it. Just like that. So we just turn, boom, there's the hole. Put it back in, and there's the keys. Perfect. You know what, why not drop a ton of Sikaflex around the actual fitting where it comes into the van too. You can never be too safe, or I don't want to get that panel off again. Crap, I just thought with this done, the piping's done, the outlet's done, it's wired up to the tap and plumbed up to the tap. In reality speaking, all I've really got to do is put some water in the tank, wire up the pump, and I can try it. Now that's not going to be it finished, there's loads of other work to do, and I've got loads of other work to do today, so don't just click off when you see it. With 35 litres poured into the tank, it's time to start looking at the wiring. The wiring couldn't be any simpler. We've got negative just there, and there's a positive kicking around just there. Now I would love to get isolating switches on each side of this unit of fixtures, however I just couldn't find any. I just couldn't find them anywhere, so I've got a different plan. Instead of isolating it like that, currently I run a switch. My current submersible pump, which is just there, was rigged up to a switch. The switch was on off for the tap. So all I'm going to do is get my old submersible pump wiring and just wire the switch straight up to this pump just here. So if I ever need to turn it off for some reason, I can just flick the switch, open the tap. What water is left that side of the pump will just go straight back into the tank. What water is left that side will just come straight out the tap. I also want to say that I ain't no expert, so if you guys have spotted something that you don't agree with, something that I could do better, please leave it in the comments down below. That's how I'm learning the majority of this stuff, by listening and reading all of your comments. If all this works without a leak, I'm going to go to the shop and get myself a beer. Because it's time. It's time to check to see whether it leaks. To turn that switch on and see what happens. I am absolutely so scared, it's unbelievable. But I've still got loads of stuff to do today. I've got a drainage to do, because at the minute I've only got a 10 litre drainage tank with a 70 litre fresh water tank. That's not suffice. I've got something to do there, and I've got some clear up to do, some stuff to do, and just basically prepare the van for this huge adventure that I'm about to embark tomorrow. Shall we see? The tap is off, the switch is there. Oh, the pump is self-priming. As soon as water's in the filter, water's in the pump. Ah! So, in theory, I can hear water squirting. No, I can't, that's the acute. Yep, I've got water leaking. Crap. Before I try it then, I'm just gonna... Oh, that's a lot better, look at that. But I have got a leak. I've got a big leak. So, PTFE tape. Upon closer inspection, it wasn't actually leaking from the nut. It was actually leaking from the joint. And the only thing that I can think of is this has got some moulding issues on it. Maybe it's leaking through that. I'm just going to give it a sand down and try it again. I would add PTFE tape on this time as well, but I can't move the van to go and get it because I've got wet Sikaflex on the outside. There's the tap. Turn it on. Yes. Look how much powerful that is. Yes. Back down here to double check. So far, so good. And that one. And the filter. I've got a couple of connections in the back. Forgot about them. Well, I don't quite like the look of that. Turns out I had one tiny little nip up that Jubilee clip and it's worked. Do I still deserve a beer? Maybe later. I'm hoping this bit's going to be easy. We've just got a couple of screws to get the back of the sink unit off. And we're now back underneath the sink. The fridge is out, the floor's out. We've got that black pipe there to basically go straight through the floor for our fresh grey water to go just straight outside. We do it on the coaches and I've checked into it, it is perfectly legal. If a campsite doesn't like it, I can put a bucket under the outlet, that's not an issue. That's where it's going to come out. That's where the pipe is, so it's just there. So now I've got it from underneath, I know where is safe. So now I've just got to go in the top with the hole saw. Is it bad that the more holes I put into the van, the more easier it becomes to do for me? just like mentally. We've got to treat the exposed metal again, drop loads of it on there, let it cure, and then we can thread the pipe through there. I sent the video of the tap running to me mate Carlos Smith. He's the one that's been giving me a little hand as well. He's on TikTok and everything, go follow him. He said, nah, that's not right, there should be more pressure in that. Have you pumped up the accumulator? And I'm like, huh? No. So I've got my half-scope bike pump now. I'm going to pump up the accumulator and see what happens. With the bike pump connected, it's showing just short of 20 psi. He said, pump it up to 30, you'll be grand. I can't believe how that worked. Check it out. Got loads more pressure. Loads more pressure. Wow. Thank you, Carlos. With that done, I've just got the hole there to bodge that in a bit better. I've packed it full of Sikaflex just to seal the hole off nicely. Yep. That's working now. We've got the boarding back on and the tank secured in. So this just goes to show just how important it is to deburr the inside of your fittings. It just kept leaking and leaking and leaking. No matter what I did, it just kept leaking. So basically the plastic screw on the outside just keeps jumping up a thread. So I've basically just tightened it down as tight as it'll go, silicone the heck out of it, and then when it's cured, I'll hook it up, do a few loads of water through it just to clear out any silicone. Hopefully that helps. It's 2 days later. Like I said, I couldn't miss the deadline. I had to go. So we've currently got no water, but we do have a coffee. That fitting has all been siliconed up, so hopefully it doesn't leak. We're going to try it later on, because yesterday we went to work at 5 o'clock in the morning. We finished at midnight. It was a long day, and then I drove down to Northampton another 3 hours. There was nowhere in that point where I could fill the tank up and have enough time to check it without having to worry about checking it. So today we're in Northampton. We've got to go down to Great Yarmouth. We've got a campsite to go on. We're going to fill up the tank there and check it then. I really do love this park up, but it's getting a bit busy. I pulled up last night at 3 o'clock in the morning and there was one space left, just big enough for my van. Anyway, I haven't been down here in the summer or the good weather. You can tell it was busy last night because he's parked on the entrance. But these trees are getting very, very low. And oh, they're just scraping on top of the roof on the way out. It's an hour and a half until Jacob finishes school. So I'm going to go to the campsite. I'm going to check in and get all our paperwork and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to go to Tesco's, get all our food for stuff tonight. What should we have for tea tonight? He's a chip fanatic. He just loves. He doesn't like Mackey's chips, but he likes the Mackey's chips rip-off out of Tesco's. So I'll pick up some of them and a few of the snacks and stuff for tonight. And then we're going to pick him up, get back to the campsite, go swimming, and then I can sort out or check to see if there's a leak in the water tank. We went swimming. Now full campsite vibes. We've got the electric hookup plugged into the power bank. That's charging. We've emptied the toilet, refilled that. Now let's play around with the water. Not looking forward to this. Start with 10 litres straight in the top first, and then go down the back and check the fittings just there. We've got to make sure they're bone dry. We're going to leave them for a bit just to see whether something leaks, but as it stands right now, it's bone dry. Let's hope it stays like that. The tap works. I put 30 litres in it, so we're just going to sort of have food, I'll come back and see if it's dry, check all the connections inside, then it might be good. I may as well just use the electric hookup to be able to plug into the air fryer. I can plug it in both of my power units, but I may as well just use this and save me power. All we've got is some chips. I'm going to make chip butties. Jacob's just going to scoff the chips. After the evening entertainment, we went back and checked it, and it was true. There was no leaks. So there's no leaks. The tap works absolutely perfectly. That's it for this video. Subscribe.